would object if you spoke on her behalf. She's the property owner unless she's represented by counsel or has an appraiser or valuation expert, and then they can speak at the hearing. You not being an attorney, not being the property owner, just being someone there for support, cannot bring the appeal or speak. You can sit next to her for support.
Excuse me, let me say something. I don't know nothing about this, and he's representing me. I asked him to represent me because I'm a senior and I don't know about this, and he knows. That's why I asked him to come with me and represent me.
I understand, but just under the law, you need to be an attorney, a licensed attorney.
Okay, well, I mean, the important thing is that, Ms. Burgess, she does have documentation in regards to her purchasing her home through a first-time home buyer program.
Yeah.
And it was basically under the guise of being low income, and she can only rent to low income tenants. And, so what it was appraised at, there's no way that she would be able to,
Let's just take a look before we do
Sure.
What you're saying, that's affordable housing?
Yeah. Can we see that documentation, sir?
As the originals here and copies of the
Okay. What was the purchase price?
It was $155,000, and the original assessment was $90,000.
What year was it purchased?
2001. Let me see the bank. I'll show them. We just show them here. Okay.
So that's next. What's the COLA? There's a COLA resale calculator that we are instructed to use in these situations. So entering all the data and the purchase price. Okay, the assessor wants to see the deed before I...
Sure. Yeah. Here you go. That's the deed. Affordable housing program lease. Affordable housing program lease.
Okay, so I mean, in this case, there is a code calculator, again, that we have to use. So given the purchase price and the year of purchase, the current assessment should be $220,200.
So that's the new assessment, would be $220,200. That's based on the COLA.
The total assessment?
Total assessment.
Not, okay.
It's a total assessment.
Okay.
Yes.
No, the reason why I'm asking because we got a breakdown, it was two, and then the total.
They'll break it down, but it'll come up.
We'll allocate it, that's just an administrative function. So you'll see like 100 on the land, or 120 on the land, and 100, but the total's gonna be
220.
200.
Okay, so it's gonna go from the 448 that it is now to 220.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And that's going to be a recommendation from the city.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Thank you, ma'am.
No, we're done.
Okay. So, all right, so you want the improvement lower? Okay, so 120, 200 land, 100,000 improvement.
100?
Yes.
Land. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Sure. Thank you both. Next, we have 327 Pavonia Avenue. Raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, testimony you have?
Yes.
We'll do one at a time. I know there's two cases.
Yes. We're starting with
327 Pavonia. Okay, you want to begin, sir? 327 property?
Oh yes, my client can speak to the specifics of the property, but we've submitted comparable sales. While the city is relying on the fact that per square footage we are assessed slightly lower than the comparable properties, you can see the three-family homes in this area are selling in this 1.4 range. We're asking for nowhere near the 1.9 range that the city has assessed the property at.
You want to just, for the record, put the comparables on record?
Yes, we have let's say 342 Pavonia Avenue, which is right down the block, which sold for 1.405 million on August 17, 2017. 597 Jersey Avenue, which sold for 1.3 million on May 24th, 2017. 209 Warren Street, which sold for 1.4 million on January 25th, 2017. 613 Jersey Avenue, which sold for 1.4 million on September 7th, 2017.
And these properties all in the same neighborhood as the subject property?
My client would,
Relatively, 342 clearly is, the other ones are a little off in the downtown area, but 342 is down the block.
Let's just hear from the city.
We're talking about,
This is,
the property is built in 2017. The comparable sales I have, the 342 Pavonia was built in 1901. The 597 Jersey, I have a class 4A. 209 Warren was built in 1877. 613 Jersey, 1870. And the property was built in 2017, the Hudson property.
What property was built in 2017?
The Hudson property.
No, it wasn't. That's not accurate. That's not accurate. It wasn't built in 2017. It was built 06 maybe. It's on the newer side, but the
I
construction.
guess if it's built in '06 rather than '16 and there's a typo there, I think the point is still what it is. You can't compare that to houses that were built in the 1800s.
I think you can. The square footage is bigger. The construction of the house is nothing all that extravagant. It's on a bigger, it's on a bigger lot. It's a bigger footprint, and that's probably about it. But the location is not ideal. It's just newer construction, and that's about it.
and these homes that are comparable provided, the interiors have been renovated?
Pretty much everything has been renovated, yeah.
I think what his attorney was also stating is that on a price per square foot basis, all of their comps support the assessment. This house is 5,000 square feet, big house, and it sits on a big lot. It's assessed at $463 a foot, which is much lower than any of the comps they submitted. They just submitted much smaller comps. So the fact that they're 3 units is, they're smaller units.
What is the square footage on our forms? It says 4239. You said 5,000.
I'm sorry, you're right. Yeah, I'm looking at, you're right, it's 4239, which comes out to $463 a foot. That doesn't include the finished basement portion of 974 additional square feet.
our position is simply that despite the fact that it is a little bit of a bigger lot and perhaps an odd shape and leading to more square footage, that there simply isn't a market for 3-family homes above this 1.4 million that matches basically all the comps which we've submitted.
Pointing out that the lot sizes are a lot smaller. They're about half the size, with the exception of the sale on Pavonia, the subject. The comps that were submitted sit on half the lot size, and many of them are about half the size. So there's a reason why they sold for around 1.4.
Anything else you want to say?
We just lean heavily on the 342 comp as being, since they're not condos that are in the same building right down the street, is about the best we're going to do. And we have a 3-family home that, well, a little bit smaller is similar, and it's sold for 1.4 million.
Again, I'd like to state that home is more than 100 years older than the subject property. You need to adjust for that. It's only 2,800 square feet, and it's still sold for $500 a foot. And this, despite the fact that it's 100 plus years newer, is only assessed at $463 a foot. I think it's fair.
But the property, the comp is a renovated property. So regardless of when it was built, it's a renovated property.
Well, again, subject property has 6 baths. That property has 3 baths. I mean, there are many differences between.
So So the testimony is the subject property, I'm sorry, the 342 Pavonia is a
Yeah.
newly renovated property.
Yeah, I don't know why you wouldn't argue that an old historic home provides significant value to someone, a buyer in that neighborhood. I don't know why I'm getting dinged for being new. That doesn't,
Okay.
and being new, wouldn't my value be closer to the actual value? I don't know why new is.
Okay. Well, we have your testimony, the city's testimony, bring it back to the board's consideration. A decision be rendered within 30 days. You then have the right to appeal, and the city has the right to appeal as well.
We'll do that, okay?
'62 Zabrinsky Street. What is your name?
Michael? I'm representing my father. He's in India right now. He signed over general power of attorney to me.
You have the power of attorney?
Yeah.
Okay, just raise your right hand.
Yeah.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
So, you have some comps that you brought along with you, and your comparable sales of homes?
Yes.
Okay. First, let's discuss your house. Is it one family, two family?
It's a two
Two
families.
family. You have parking?
Yes.
Okay. You want to talk about the comps? Go ahead.
Okay. I looked up other records around the area, and the highest appraised value was $438,500.
Yeah, that's, we're talking about sale price, not rate.
Yeah.
Sale price.
Sorry. Yeah.
That's right.
And ours was assessed at $528, which is really high. The house was built in 1901, and we haven't done renovations in the house.
All right, so why don't you bring the comps into the record of, you provided 5 different properties that sold?
Yes, one is 474 Liberty Avenue,
Okay.
2 is 40 Charles Street, 3rd is 61 Bleecker Street, 4th 125A Palisade Avenue, and 57 South Street.
Okay. And are these homes two families, all two families?
One of them is, which is the lowest. Well,
And the
yeah,
other
which is
ones?
lowest sale price.
And the other ones are one family?
Yeah, the other ones are one family.
Okay.
And
We
one
like
of
to
them was,
compare two families to two family because then when people are buying something, and you buy, if they're looking at a two-family house, you want to compare what other two-family houses are being sold for.
okay,
So-
so the one that I can compare is 40 Charles Street, which is two
40
family.
Charles Street. Let's hear from the city.
So just speaking with Charles, that sale was in poor condition at the time of sale. I mean, I have a photo of it with a dumpster and a porta potty in front of it, in front of me. So that's, and it also is very small. It's 960 square feet. So that's sold for $401 a foot. This property is assessed at $217 a foot. I think what may be important with this property is that we didn't get into it. We could see it was in fair condition from the outside, so we do have the outside as fair. But we're showing the inside as estimated, which gives it kind of a bump up in condition, and we have a modern kitchen and a modern bath. So I mean, we can inspect it, or if we want to take, under oath testimony, I'm comfortable making adjustments.
So before we go on, what is the condition of the interior of the houses? When were the bathrooms and kitchens
We
renovated?
haven't done it since, I want to say 2003. Yeah,
15 years.
yes. It was a while ago. That was when we initially bought that house.
Okay, so no updates at all?
No.
City's position, for the record, is they always like to inspect it, but I will tell you, in theory, what the number would be now.
You want to inspect it?
Yeah, we like to.
They would like to inspect the house, the interior, so
Okay,
you get an
no
appointment to inspect it, but we're going to get an idea of what the inspection, if it
Yeah.
shows that the home is not in the same position they're saying, what it would be.
Okay.
So it's, my guess is it'll get down into about the 450 area, but I can't say for sure. It really depends on what we see, but it would come down a bunch if you don't have that.
No problem.
So you would make an appointment 2787 Kennedy Boulevard. Yes, ma'am, come on. Yeah,
Yes,
what's your name?
Lydia Ontal.
Just raise your right hand. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but
I
the
do.
truth, testimony you give. Yeah.
First, I want to say I'm 81 years old. I'm a widow for the last 8 years. I live alone. I live on small pension and Social Security, $713. We bought this apartment with my husband in,
Before you go on, there are some programs that are in place for individuals such as yourself. There's, first of all, senior program. I don't know if you applied for that yet in the city, but they provide a discount for senior citizens.
yeah, I did.
And there's also a freeze that the state has put in place where it freezes your taxes at a certain level and it never goes up. So that's
How do
you can get the application.
They'll give you the information, go to the window,
Next door.
they'll give you the information
Oh,
for that.
Okay, it depends on income, other factors,
Yes.
state level.
As I
Just
said,
wanted to share.
I have a small pension and Social Security, which is like 700 something. This apartment we bought with my husband in 1996. And nothing has changed except for a mirror on the wall and a kitchen counter. And we removed the carpets of the whole house. Other than that, everything is, the bathrooms is still, nothing's changed. In 2017, my assessed value was 77,000. For 2018, it's 513,700. And I'm trying to figure out how I will be able to pay the increase in taxes. And as you can see in my record, I've never missed a payment
Well,
of due dates.
Couple things. And then the other thing we have to do is look at what properties have sold
Yeah.
during a period of time between October and October
Yeah.
2016 and 17 to come up with a fair value for your
Yeah,
property.
I'm sorry that I wasn't able to do that. Actually, I was away for the last 6 months. I came back here only for this purpose because I had postponed this already before. And I didn't get the chance to get a comparative. I asked people I know in the building. No one has know of any unit that has been sold in the last couple of months. So I really could not give you a comparative, on sales.
That's
on
okay. I think
what-
the city has a few units that were sold in your building. Is that right?
That's correct.
The city has a couple units, it's right on the board.
Oh, okay. So what am I supposed to do now?
Well, let's hear from the city first.
Sure, I mean, just for illustrative purposes, of course, we show unit 411 sold for 475,000. It's 1,170 square feet. That
Oh, sorry,
reflects
what is the subject? What is the square footage of your property?
1,400.
1,400. So the subject's assessment reflects $367 a foot. The sale of unit 411 for 475 at 1,170 square feet represents $406 a foot, which supports the assessment. There's another unit that's 1,170 square feet, that's unit 511. That's sold for 520, which represents $444 a foot. The third unit sold in December of 16 for 386. That's only 915 square feet, and that sale price reflects $422 a foot. So they all support, three of those sales support the assessment of the subject.
But I would also say that from what I've been told, these units have had upgrades. In my case, I didn't have any upgrade at all. In fact, I need a lot of repairs in the floors and the bathrooms. I haven't done any of that. As I said, the only improvement I made was that mirror on the wall and...
Let me just ask a question. Do you know, Mark, what the conditions of these units were?
I show that the one was upgraded, the one that sold for 520, which makes sense. 1,170 square feet, had an updated kitchen and bed.
One of the units was upgraded, at least the records show.
Yeah. But I'm just saying that comparatively, I haven't done any upgrade
And
in
the
my
condition of
unit.
the other two, how are they ranked?
Typical.
Typical, what is the condition of the
Typical.
So they're all ranked the same? did someone come and inspect your apartment? Ma'am?
Yes, somebody did.
They did. They were
About
inside.
6 months ago, I saw it.
Okay. Do you have anything else you'd like to add? The city wants to add anything else?
Well, I guess I'm putting my situation up front to the city for whatever consideration I could get for my situation. As I said, I'm a widow, I'm 81 years old, I live on my pension, nothing else than that.
Well, that's why I suggest you look into those programs that are available
Yeah.
specifically for cases like that.
Okay, all right.
You can get the application right next to that.
Right at the window?
They'll give you the phone number.
She'll give you there's a phone number you have to call, because it is a state program, it has nothing to do with the city or the county.
Yeah.
It's a state program that freezes your taxes for the coming years, doesn't go
I
backwards.
got something a couple of weeks ago from senior or something.
But you want to make sure you call that number.
The senior
I'll get
freeze,
it from
that
the
should go
window?
down to City Hall.
Don't be the state. Senior freeze is
I mean, not the
the state.
freeze, but the Renard, right? The name of it.
Dolores Renard.
Okay,
My name is Charles Balser,
Charles,
B-A-L-C-E-R.
and your name, ma'am?
Dolores Renard.
R-E?
N-N-A-R.
Are you both here for the same property?
Yes.
Okay. Are you both owners of the property?
No, just me.
Okay, who are you, sir? Why are you
Cousin.
here?
Cousin, Miss Renard just came back from a procedure at Christ Hospital. She's undergoing treatment. She's had breast cancer.
So and I can't hear.
Okay.
So I'm going to assist her in that way.
Okay.
I didn't
okay.
hear most of the stuff that was going on.
Okay, can you hear me if I say raise your right hand?
Yes,
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so
I
help you
do.
God?
yes.
Thank you. Okay, what do we got? I have this here. I better put my glasses on and nobody's going anywhere.
Commissioner Drennan, if I may,
Yes.
okay, Miss Renard was here on September the 10th,
Okay,
a couple of weeks ago, and when we appeared on that date, the commissioners were not present at that time. Those present were simply the people sitting at the table to my left.
okay,
And they were representative from the law department representing Jersey City, the tax assessor, and Mr. Duda.
yes,
Ms. Renard was not, I guess, in the moment at that time due to stress and so on, and so whatever was evolving at that time on the 10th did not work out well for her. She just had to leave. She just couldn't take the stress of the moment at that time,
okay,
and asked for and received a continuation or a recess until today,
okay.
which is why we're here.
Postponement.
But there is a statement I would like to make, a very brief statement, if I may, about 90 seconds, which I think may put some context to what we're about to get into here, if I
Okay,
may.
is it Ms. Renard's words that you're going to be
Yes,
reading to us?
absolutely,
Okay,
yes,
go ahead.
absolutely. Yeah. May I start?
Yeah.
Okay. This is addressed to the Hudson County Tax Board. When I was here on September the 10th, I saw there were no commissioners present on the dais. When my case was called, I sat at the table below the dais. Present was an attorney representing Jersey City, Mr. Duda from ASINJ, and a representative from the city's tax assessor. This was not the Hudson County Tax Board and not the people I paid $150 to present my case to. I have been under great stress from the day I received my new assessment and tax bill. I've lived my entire life, 74 years, in my house at 268 6th Street. I've recently had a bout with breast cancer, currently undergoing treatment at a local hospital. I am also hearing impaired, which doesn't help my situation. For several months, I was unable to function in a way where I could deal with all this, and with the help of friends, I was able to assemble my response to the revow. I went through the required informal appeal with ASINJ. Issues were brought forward, particularly an egress on my property, which services an adjacent property not owned by me. Mr. Duda would not accept my comments regarding this egress, telling me I needed to have a survey done. I have an architect's site plan on my property which shows the egress, but Mr. Duda would not accept it. On September the 10th, I became quite upset and decided to leave. I didn't want to, but clearly I knew I wasn't being heard by the people I paid money to present my case to. The average property owner who comes to these doors has no clue as to who the players are. When the session commences and the applicant comes forward, they have no idea that the people they're dealing with is not the Hudson County Tax Board. A number of people I know have had this experience since the appeals began. There was no established, as per the tax board rules, protocol, no call to order, no swearing in, or identification of all present, and so on. One might consider that the tax board, being overwhelmed by a large volume of appeals, decided to hear appeals in absentia for expediency's sake. And there might be property owners who came before those three parties at the table who walked out with a reduction and were satisfied. So be it. It does not make it right, however, for property owners to be charged a fee believing they'll be heard by the tax board and are not. Should their fee be returned to them? On September 12th, I wrote a letter to Mr. Kenny of the tax board with copies to the county executive, Mr. DeGise, and the county counsel, Mr. Batista. To date, I have not yet received a reply. This issue is pivotal in the ongoing saga of the Jersey City reval. I have a copy of the letter I sent on September the 12th, and in closing, I am asking the Hudson County Tax Board to consider the issue of my egress and make an adjustment to reduce my assessment from its present level. And I have a copy of that, the architect's drawing showing the egress,
Okay,
and it's signed by Ms. Renner.
okay.
Well,
So-
when I came and I sat down, he looked at me and said, "We're not going to use your pencil drawings." And I walked out because I said, "This is signed by a lawyer and an architect."
Okay,
The drawings
so
were
let,
there.
I got the gist of your situation from your letter, so we'll just address a couple of things and then we'll hear your case, okay? So it's very typical for taxpayers to come to this venue and negotiate with the city preliminarily. Largely, almost always, they can work out whatever differences they have with the city. In any case, an offer is generally presented by the city. If not, they rest on the amount that they have come to in their value. You can take it or you can leave it.
Every house. Then they sent me a piece of paper with 5 properties. Grand Street, Sussex Street. I went online and I got all the properties. All brick houses, all attached. Mine's a wood frame. So I'm on 6th Street and somebody said from this office, somebody said that you're on 6th Street, that's why your taxes are so high. I said, oh, wait a minute. I have a good friend who lives on 3rd Street who has a 5-family, same size lot, attached, 4-car parking in the back. Her tax went from $10,000 to $9,000.
It brings the entirety of your value from $1,125,000 to $1,087,000.
Can you just write that out for me?
900.
Read it or something?
Can you write it on a pice of paper or?
She's
Oh,
not
you
hearing,
write it
she's not
here.
hearing it correctly.
Right, here. I don't understand it,
So
that's why.
$1,125,000.
Write it on here.
Well, she's right.
If this tax reval was done right,
$1,087,000.
we wouldn't all be here.
Mr. Duda?